Hey, welcome back, and happy Go Battle weekend. I'm Ferrikster, here to bring you some more Pokemon Go GBL battles. These battles are played in Open Great League, and it is Go Battle weekend. So we have 20 sets today, that's 100 battles today, and 100 battles tomorrow. So there's a lot of material to make videos from, and yeah, it is 5x dust for your win rewards, so definitely go out and play those if you can get yourself a 5-0. It's like 13,500 dust plus a star piece on top of that. It's like nearly 20k dust a set. I guess that would be plus the 5 that you get. So it'd be 27k dust a set if you can get some 5-0s with a star piece. It's a lot of dust. It's a lot of dust. You can defrustrate your Pokemon this weekend, and if you have a starter that you need to evolve, you can get the Community Day move, Blast Burn, Frenzy Plant, or Hydro Cannon. So there's so much to do. Also, the Rockets now have Shiny Shadow starters, the Rocket Leaders, and you get double Mysterious Components for beating the Grunts, plus 1.5 times Stardust for beating the Grunts. There's like so much to do this weekend. So thank you so much for taking time out to watch this video. So this is a team that I built on stream, and I tried it out on stream, and I had like, I think 3 very strongly positive sets with this after the first set, which I kind of botched a lot of the execution with. But after I got the hang of it, this turned out to be ridiculously strong. So, you know, I played some more of this off stream today so I could make this content out of it, and these were the 3 sets that I recorded. And spoilers, if I didn't spoil it in the title, I go very strongly positive here also. So I'm playing these battles at starting around like 2600 and change. I had gone down a little bit before Go Battle weekend because I didn't want to have to sit through queue times in like 2900 plus. That would have been a lot of wasted dust. So, you know, these might be a little bit lower than I would normally be playing sets on, but that's fine because the teams down here look very similar to what I was seeing around 2900 and to what I've been seeing today. So I am leading with Talonflame. I really like fire in general in the current meta, certainly as a lead. Talonflame is good because even if you don't end up winning the lead, there's not too many Pokemon that resist, you know, fire and flying. Mostly it would be rock, which would mostly just be Bastiodon, and we can deal with Bastiodon leads with this team without too much difficulty, actually. In the back, I have Registeel. Registeel with the Legacy Zap Cannon and Focus Blast. That's kind of like the most normal set to run with a Registeel anyway. And I have a Return Sableye in the back also. Mine is XL. So in this game, I think I get my Reggie gets farmed down, and there's a Shadow Kanto Tails in the back. They throw right away, so I get an entire Incinerate through. Not really supposed to be insta-throwing anymore with the way the mechanics currently are run, and my opponent swaps in an Azumarill in the back. So this was Kanto Tails double Water Fairy with Tapu Fini as the swap, and then an Azumarill as the closer, which is hilarious. But we all know that when Tapu Fini came out, you know, someone running ABB with double Water Fairy was obviously one of the top of mind things for like, oh yeah, now I have to worry about this thing existing also. So here's that. So I have my Sableye trained on this Azu, and Azu is a pretty good Sableye counter, but Sableye with 2 shields is just going to be able to return its way through an Azumarill no problem. With all of the Shadow Claw damage I've had to do, I'm able to just throw this Foul Play and take Azumarill out, and now Kanto Tails comes back out, and this is kind of dangerous, but since this is only a Weather Ball, I will survive it. And Foul Play would not quite be enough to take them out, so I'm just going to build up to and throw the return. Just launching that as soon as I've got it, and I managed to take Ninetales out, and that's a GG. So, next up against Red Ash, Talonflame into Alolan Ninetales. So this is fantastic, regardless of what the moveset is. Talonflame is very, very strong against Alolan Ninetales, and also Registeel is like a complete wall to Alolan Ninetales. So since they swapped out into something that I can bring Sableye out onto, I will bring Sableye out. And I don't actually really need to push to win swap here, But my opponent definitely doesn't know that, so... well, I was going to say there's a very good chance that they shield and you can come out up shields, but they decided to just let it go. And now I'm not going to waste any time because no moves were thrown in the initial matchup. Like, I didn't throw a move to try to get a shield before swapping. So they're still switch locked. I'm able to just incinerate down, and there's an Umbreon in the back. So I'm just going to throw one incinerate and then throw my move. That way my opponent only gets one free turn. They throw here, and this game is obviously very over already. I'm just spamming out my move right away. Probably should have thrown one Incinerate, but I wanted to at least get the move out before they reached their next move, because I was figuring they could probably just throw one Snarl and then beat me to it. I don't feel like shielding. I was debating whether I could go for not revealing my third or maybe going for the 2 shield flex, but I decided going for a 2 shield flex hurts a little bit more, so I went with that. So that's a GG, but that was basically, I basically just hard countered my opponent in that game. Okay, so Talonflame into Toxicroak. This is a pretty good matchup for Talonflame. My opponent swaps out into a shiny Golduck, and like, what is this doing here? It's Go Battle Day, so if you want to run a weird team to maybe bring yourself down a couple of points so that you can then, you know, get some faster games, I think that's totally viable. Like, I think that's fine. For this weekend especially, I see nothing wrong with that. So Golduck usually will have Cross Chop and Ice Beam, but this one's running Bubble Beam, so I just no shield and farm with Sableye, and now Switch Timer is almost up. And my Sableye is double debuffed, and this is a resisted foul play that I'm throwing, but I know they are assuming I was going to throw the return. So now that I got that shield, now I'll throw the double debuffed return, and it still does a lot to Toxicroak. They're going to farm me the whole way down, and that's fine. Talonflame's going to come out. My Incinerate goes through. I'm going to shield here. And my Incinerate will land after this, even if they try to switch out or anything. And they do switch out into a Mantine. A shiny Mantine. So this is a very shiny team with a lot of unusual things on it. And I'm just going to swap into Registeel. And yeah, that's a GG. That might not be the kind of team that you really are thinking about, like, oh, how do I beat this kind of a team? But, you know, sometimes, especially on a Go Battle Day or a Go Battle Weekend, you know, you're going to see some things that are kind of weird. So good to know that my team doesn't also die to just things that are just kind of weird. Because I'm sure that team beats some very meta things, just requires very specific alignment. So yeah, applause for people who run the weird shit. So this Nidoqueen throws a Poison Fang, which is pretty unusual. I was totally willing to accept the damage from an Earth Power. I just didn't want to go down a shield there. And they bring out Scrafty, and I'm just going straight return. They tell me you're supposed to bait first against a Scrafty swap-in when it swaps into your Sableye, but like, that feels so risky. So I wait until they're at their next foul play to throw my foul play, and this foul play is double resisted by Scrafty, but it's just enough to take him out. Like, really, that was actually very close to not being enough. I was not sure it would be. And then Azumarill comes out, and this is great. So I'm going to be able to throw this return, which is going to hit Azumarill for neutral and do, like, you know, a really substantial chunk of damage, brings Azu down to just under half. Not that it really makes that much of a difference. What I really need here is alignment. Obviously, I would have strongly preferred to get a shield there instead. And here I make a mistake, which is I immediately swap out to my Talonflame. So I should have stayed in longer with Registeel and waited until he debuffed me or threw some of his energy before swapping out to Talonflame. Here, now I'm in kind of an awkward position where I throw this Flame Charge, and now I'm just going to end up getting farmed down. Like, I should have also not thrown the Flame Charge and just thrown my Brave Bird instead, just so they'd get less farm. Here, I'm going to no-shield the Earth first move. I was worried that it would have been the Poison Fang bait, and this is too early to not be a Poison Fang, so this I'm going to let go. I'm going to build up to as much energy as I can really hold, and now I am just going to throw the Focus Blast. I undercharge it a little bit, but like, I don't think that was... I mean, for one, it wasn't enough to not KO, but also I think their switch timer might have been up then, so it probably would have been the opposite of helpful. this Azumarill is able to get its Ice Beam in, and because I've been debuffed already, this Ice Beam is able to take me out before I get my last lock-ons to get to the Zap Cannon, so barely managed to not take that game, but that was a misplay on mine. I should have stayed in longer when Registeel was up against Nidoqueen. Like, swapping out right away to Talonflame, that was a mistake. But that's GG, and I go up by like some number of points. I got a 4-1, and yeah, let's hop into this next set. Just wasn't ready to do the math. I was already talking. So Lickitung in the lead. This is a lead that I've been seeing a decent amount of, and there's a team that's very popular right now, which is Lickitung Double Fighter. And obviously Registeel's not amazing against a fighter, but you know, it can still take a shield against pretty much any of them, except for like Power Punch Metacham if they really don't feel like shielding. So I throw my first Flame Charge right away and then throw my second one, and I could shield this and win swap, but since, you know, they're in like a convenient looking farm down range, I figured I would just bring in Registeel and lock on down instead, and they send out a Shadow Swampert, and the Shadow Swampert throws Hydro Cannon right away. So I'm going to let this Hydro Cannon go, and I'm going to throw this, my Focus Blast. This would pretty much KO a Swampert, so they shield, and now I'm going to swap out into Sableye. Now that I've gotten a shield up, and you know, they're going to throw this Hydro Cannon, I'm going to shield this. They are 2 ahead right now, so their next Hydro Cannon comes in 3. The CMP animation sometimes is kind of weird, and it just instantly throws you into the next thing. They decide to let the Foul Play go, and that means I just get to Shadow Claw them the rest of the way down, and there is a Kanto Ninetales in the back. This one's running Ember. So Ember, K-Tails. Ember is an elite TM move, so like this, you know, you have to make that decision and spend a lot for it. I prefer Fire Spin on my Shadow K-Tails. And here, I'm going to throw this Foul Play, and I think this is going to be just barely not enough to take them out. Yeah, that's why I had thrown Return on that earlier game. But I needed to get that out because I know they're going to reach their move. They're like pretty low, and K-Tails doesn't have that much HP. I'm just barely able to lock on the rest of the way down. Lickitung comes out, and I lock on that down also. That is a GG. But like, yeah, that felt very felt very uncomfortable for a while there. All right, next up against I missed his name, but Shadow Swampert in the lead. So obviously Shadow Swampert is a very, very bad lead for my team. Talonflame cannot survive a single Hydro Cannon, and Registeel cannot survive a single Earthquake. And most Shadow Swamperts do have those 2 moves. They are mostly running Earthquake. So I'm going to swap out into the only thing that doesn't immediately die, which is a Sableye. And they're going to respond with their own Sableye. So my hope for this is that I can take both shields off of my opponent, and I get them. So that's a good start, actually. Like, this is not, you know, an amazing situation to be in, because there's a Swampert back there with, like, some amount of energy. But, so what I'm going to do is I'm going to build up to a move on Talonflame and just keep building up a little bit excess energy. I can take a Foul Play, no problem, but they threw the Return, which leaves me really low, and I swap out into Registeel, and I get a couple of lock-ons in, so I'm able to get to this Focus Blast before Swampert reaches the Earthquake, which is what they would need to take me out. I get the Focus Blast out, it takes out the Swampert, and there's a Nidoqueen in the back, Shadow Nidoqueen. This is rough for me. I go for the Zap Cannon, which is kind of a weird choice, but like, I thought maybe I'd get it out before they reach the Earth Power, and then, you know, their Earth Power, they'd have to throw double Earth Power. But I would have had to leave myself with a little bit extra energy. Like now, since it's a Shadow Nidoqueen, I'd be able to take them out with a Focus Blast, but like, it's just not quite enough, and I'm not able to get out and throw my move right away. So I throw the Brave Bird, I'm able to take them out, but Sableye just Shadow Claws me down. So, very close game, considering that lead should be an instant death, and that lead was a death for me in this game, but I did beat, like, almost that exact same team on stream the other day. So if you want to go to twitch.tv/Ferrikster and look for the video of that, it's there. if you want to find evidence of like, oh my gosh, how am I supposed to play this lead? So like Open Great League is a meta that is so wide and contains so many Pokemon at this point. If you're not going to run a super like typical ABB team, you're very likely going to find that you are ABA weak to something. So weak in the front and weak in the back to something. And for this team, it would be like, yeah, pretty much Swampert. Like Swampert any Mud Boy would be, pretty difficult with this line. Most other things are covered pretty well, like Registeel and Talonflame cover each other pretty well, and Talonflame and Sableye cover each other pretty well. Altaria lead, also difficult, but like, Sableye, safe swap into that isn't really that bad either. So I'm going to bring my Registeel out into the Strapion, just to kind of soak up all of this damage. Like, I'm very glad that I was able to win lead on this, because, Sableye really not amazing against Drapion. Although it's not the worst matchup either. So I'm still up a shield, and I'm just going to throw the Zap Cannon. Zap Cannon and Focus Blast do the same damage to neutral targets. It puts him in lock-on down range, and like I debuffed them, so the idea should have been like, oh, I debuffed them, I should probably no-shield this, but I decided to shield anyway, which was kind of a weird decision. Like, why wouldn't I just shield the first one instead then, if that's the route that I was going to go? Or the second one, I guess. But luckily for me, there's a Skarmory in the back, and I'm just able to land the Zap Cannon. It debuffs the Skarmory. They reach a Brave Bird against my Sableye, but debuffed it really doesn't do as much damage, and this game is very over because the Drapion's in lock-on down range. That's a GG. Registeel to me feels very strong in the current meta, by the way. Like, there were more fighters a few days ago, and now there seem to be a little bit less. The meta's just churning so quickly. So, against Deoxys in the lead. So, they throw here at 7, which means this is either a Rock Slide, so I should definitely shield it because it's double super effective, or they would be throwing a Psycho Boost and then they would swap out. So, when they throw before your third Incinerate goes through, when they throw at 7... I like to shield just in case it's the Rock Slide, because if it's Thunderbolt, they would have to build up past that. If they build up past 7, so into your 4th Incinerate, more likely it's gonna end up being a Thunderbolt, which you can easily survive because it's only single super effective as opposed to the double super effective Rock Slide. Here I have my Registeel in against this Trevenant, so since I was able to get in fast enough, I was able to debuff them with Zap Cannon. Now my second Zap Cannon is going to go out, and it would still take a Shadow Ball to take me down. And this Trevenant's getting very low. So here they have to throw the Shadow Ball, or I'll survive a Seed Bomb. So that comes out, and now I have 2 very solid answers to Trevenant. And this Trevenant is double debuffed by Zap Cannon, so I'm going to let this go, because even if it's a Shadow Ball, double debuffed, it doesn't do that much. And there is a Walrein in the back. So I am just going to throw my first Flame Charge. I get a shield, which is great. And I'm going to try to reach my next move, and I make it. So I'm going to throw this boosted Brave Bird. Takes out the Walrein, and I can just switch in Sableye, Shadow Claw down the Trevenant, and just take that game. That is a GG. Gonna take a sip of tea. I have been doing so much battling and talking today. Oh my gosh. So, Sableye in the lead. A lot of times, a Sableye lead will have kind of a core of Pokemon in the back, because Sableye is like a pretty typical safe swap. Like, it can force its way into switch advantage a lot of the times. So when someone runs Sableye in the lead, there's a decent chance that winning alignment would be super helpful. So I decided to let this Foul Play go, because I barely survive it. My Talonflame is like rank 20-something, so it's got very good IVs, all things considered. And now I'm going to bring out my Sableye. And my opponent has no shields, so I'm going to shield the Foul Play, because I don't know what's back there. I might need both of my Pokemon. And they swap out into Mandibuzz, so I'm going to like build up to a return and then not throw it, just going to switch out into Registeel. Like, I'm worried that there might be something in the back that my Sableye might not have the most play against, but like, a Sableye with a return loaded is good against a lot of things. As long as it's not like an Umbreon or something, I've probably got some play. And if you lead Sableye, you don't really have an Umbreon in the back or a Mandibuzz, because what do you do against a Charm lead? Like, what is the... What am... There's so many teams this weekend where I'm looking at it like, what am I looking at here? But at the same time, you know, someone can look at my team and be like, what do you do against a Swampert lead? Like, you know, there's something resembling play usually, but like Charmley's not that uncommon. I don't know, I'm just saying. So there's an Azumarill in the back, which is fine. I'm going to throw this Zap Cannon, and I don't want to get farmed down, and I'm not going to reach another Zap Cannon, so I just swap out, throw one Shadow Claw, which goes through invisibly, but it was thrown, and I'm going to throw this Return, which is enough to take out the Azumarill just barely. Mandibuzz is going to come back out, and I am way too healthy, so managed to take that game. That is a GG. But like, oh my gosh, Sableye in the lead with Mandibuzz in the back? Ah, Charm. So I get a Zapdos, which is great. The Pokemon that you're getting this weekend from GBL rewards can have a base of 0, by the way. So you can get a 0, 15, 15 Scrafty, you know, this weekend. But the legendary encounters still are base 10. So same raid IVs and catch IVs that we're used to for that. All right, Victory Bell in the lead. So this is interesting in a sense. So Victory Bell in the lead almost universally will have a Bastiodon in the back, and obviously Talonflame is impossibly bad against Bastiodon. But Registeel is kind of like a near wall to Basti, and also a total wall to Victory Bell. So like, I throw a move with my Talonflame, and I lose some health on my Talonflame, and I'm like, kind of indifferent about it. Like, I send my Sableye out, and I'm going to throw this. And, like, I'm up a shield. I could obviously just shield their Foul Play when it comes and throw my next Foul Play and win Switch Advantage, not even have that much to farm down with. But I'm like, I'll just let it go anyway. I don't care. And I'm just going to send out Talonflame, and, like, you know, a Bastiodon comes out and snipes me, so now their Sableye has, like, a move banked, and it's like, alright, I guess. And now I'm just going to throw a Focus Blast against the Bastiodon. Hits for double super effective, but Basti is so thick it actually doesn't kill. So I'm like, alright, I guess this is not great. I'll just shield this Flamethrower. Like, you know, we're fine. Flamethrower is going to do the most damage of anything, and I'm just going to try to end with some energy and stuff. And, like, you know, I'm sure this is okay. I don't know. I'll shield this Flamethrower also. Like, I'm not making this easy on myself, but, like, it doesn't feel like I'm making it difficult either. I feel like I'm going to be fine. So right now, I'm just spamming out the Focus Blast. Because, like, Victory Bell single resists Focus Blast and single resists Zap Cannon. And, like, if I throw the Focus Blast, I'll be able to get to the next Focus Blast faster, which is, like, fine. They swap their Sableye in. I'm not sure if they're trying to get to their move, or if they're trying to, like, catch a Focus Blast or something. I don't know. It's, like, whatever. And now I'm just going to throw the Zap Cannon, and that's going to take out Victory Bell. I don't know. Like, Victory Bell in the lead is, like, I feel like you can just misplay it terribly. Just expecting, like... I don't know. Could I have made that a closer game? Maybe. Like, I felt like, I don't know, my opponent has nothing this entire time. So even though I misplayed that about as hard as I could, I don't know, it just didn't matter. Yeah. That was terrible casting. Oh, I should never cast like that. I should save that part of myself for Twitch. So, Walrein into Talonflame. Or Talonflame into Walrein, rather. Yeah. I shield that Icicle Spear, and now I'm just going to throw this Brave Bird. And now I'm just going to swap out to Sableye. Why not just stay in and let them take out my Talonflame? I'm not really sure. They threw Earthquake, which is fine. Like, I don't mind that either. I build up a little bit of extra energy, but it wasn't counting, so I don't build up a perfect amount of energy. And I'm just going to throw this Foul Play, and that takes out the Walrein. Trevenant is going to come out, which is good for me in a sense, because Registeel is pretty Well, I mean, it's okay against Trevenant. And there is an Alolan Marowak in the back with Fire Spin. So, kind of dangerous. I'm going to send out Registeel. And they're doing the bulk of their damage with Fire Spin. I'm going to let this go because it can't be a Fire Blast yet. And, you know, they might get the debuff on their Shadow Bone. And they do, which does not help me at all. I'm going to debuff them with Zap Cannon. And also because it hits for neutral and my other move is like very, very like double resisted, and I would barely be able to get to my Focus Blast, but excellent counting by my opponent. They decide to throw their Bone Club. I am going to let that go and just come in with Talonflame, and it is just a race to DPS each other down. I'm able to take them out because I debuffed them with the Zap Cannon. That Zap Cannon debuff definitely helped my Talonflame survive 3 Fire Spins. So, all right. Next up, Talonflame into Deoxys. So I get weak connection, but that doesn't matter as much as it used to because ever since the newest update, connection speed seems to matter a lot less. They don't throw right away at the 3rd. They build up to a 4th, so this is most likely a Thunderbolt, but I end up deciding to shield anyway. Like, Talonflame can easily survive the Thunderbolt. And now they swap into Lickitung to catch my Brave Bird, which does so much damage to Lickitung. But I'm going to build up some energy and then get out to Registeel because Registeel, you know, not going to be the best against what they had in the lead. So here, I'm going to throw this Focus Blast because... And I think I hit 2 bubbles, but, like, I should have hit 0 bubble. Like, 0 bubbles was clearly the right play in retrospect. I wasn't super sure about that, but now that I've seen it, like, 0 bubbles was the play because I would get, like, so many more lock-ons if I had just zeroed. So Deoxys is going to come back out, and this is fine. Like, they throw their energy here, and I'm definitely not in Thunderbolt range yet. Like, not even close. Throw another counter. I'm going to throw this in the middle of their counter. Always got to try to throw in the middle of moves now, or towards the end of moves, not at, you know, the move so that they get in another one. And they counter me down, and that's fine. I'm going to bring in Sableye, which is kind of like a wall to them. And, yeah, they're going to swap out into Diggersby. And I'm just going to go straight Flame Charge, because as long as I don't debuff myself, they really can't take me out with just a Fire Punch. And since I got that shield, now I feel comfortable enough to Brave Bird, because this puts them into, what's it called? Like, they're very much in foul play range, and they can't Fire Punch me yet, even though I debuffed myself, so they have to throw the Earthquake to take me out. Earthquake single resisted, and that means I'm going to be able to easily reach this foul play before they can reach another Earthquake. Take them out, and Sableye is super, super strong against Deoxys, so I'm able to take that game. That's GG. Alright. So, Talonflame into Jellicent. So this is obviously not great. I'm just going to insta-swap to Sableye, see what my opponent wants to do. They decide to swap out into a Scrafty. So, people tell me that you're supposed to foul play bait first and then throw the return, and you can win swap most of the time with that. And I don't listen, so I just throw the return anyway. And they shield it. So, you know, that's not great for me. Now I'm going to shield the foul play. And, you know, this is dangerous, but at the same time, since I have a Registeel in the back, if I can get all the shields down, Registeel should be pretty good, even if there's something in the back that's like a fighter. And Talonflame, if my opponent has no shields, can Brave Bird the Jellicent. So I'm just going to throw the next return also, and they let it go, so I'm able to win switch. So didn't have to bait, was able to win swap anyway. Great. Now I'm going to throw this foul play when they reach their Poison Fang, hoping that they would be throwing also, and they are, and which is like a really weird choice because Poison Fang's not enough to take out Sableye anyway. So now I have the alignment that I need. I can send in Talonflame. This Incinerate is going to land after this next Poison Fang. Like, if they had Stone Edge, took me out with that, then I guess maybe, but I'd still 100% Reggie would be able to just lock on down, no problem. So here we've got Reggie into Jellicent, and this Jellicent already had 2 hexes of energy already, so that's not going to make too much of a difference. Like, I'm just going to throw this Zap Cannon. They shield. I think if this Jellicent had Bubble Beam and they Bubble Beamed here, maybe they'd be able to survive the Zap Cannon. Honestly, I'm not sure. Like, it would be close. You know what? I think the Zap Cannon would probably KO even if they debuffed me. This thing has taken too much lock-on damage, which sounds ridiculous, but that's the way it is. And yeah, I just insta-lock on down the Nidoqueen and managed to take that game. That's GG. Against a really not ideal lead and not ideal swap. So Registeel in the lead. So in Great League, Talonflame will definitely go down to a single Zap Cannon from Reggie. But that means that since Reggie doesn't put on any fast move pressure, I can throw this Flame Charge and, like, I can take this Foul Play and it's fine. Like, as long as I don't leave myself in a range where I can get taken out by lock-ons, I'm okay. So I swap out with a move banked and enough health to survive enough lock-ons to reach, like, 2 more if I have to. So we'll see what comes out, and I was expecting Reggie to come out, and they bring in a Shadow Swampert instead. And I think that, like, part of the thinking for that from my opponent is that, you know, if I've got Talonflame in the lead, I should have two answers in the back, or one answer plus one hard counter to a water, like Swampert. So, like, you know, you'd expect in the back I'd have something like a Venusaur or something, or a Trevenant or something. Turns out I have Registeel instead. So my opponent probably saw that and was like, this is ridiculous. What does this team do against a Swampert lead? It's not easy, but you can manage sometimes. All right? It's not easy, but, like, I promise you can manage sometimes. So I'm just going to go straight Focus Blast against this Registeel. Obviously, there's really no reason to debuff them. I would survive a Focus Blast from it anyway. My Registeel is a rank 69. Like, honestly, I'm not just saying that. That's the actual rank of it. It's like a 5, 15, 13 or something. So I can survive a Focus Blast just fine in the 2s. And yeah, I throw this, and then they swap out to catch the move on their Swampert, which definitely made me feel pretty uneasy because I have to throw 2 more Incinerates, but I'm able to reach this Flame Charge anyway. And will this be enough to KO? Well, I already buffed myself once with Flame Charge, so actually it is. And I managed to take that game. That is a GG, but that did not feel like the most comfortable win. That was really close. But yeah, managed to take that for a nice 5 out of 5. And reminder, it's Go Battle Weekend, and there is 5x dust, so I'm going to go into my inventory, pop a star piece, and then go and claim my rewards. 6,750 dust. I get a Frillish, which is fine. It's going to grow up to be a fine Pringles man one day. Or it'll just, you know, go in the meat grinder with everything else that gets transferred. Claim those, 13,500 dust, and then another 7,500 dust at the end of that set. Yeah, there is so much dust to be had this weekend. So get out there, do all of your battles. Thank you all so much for watching. Don't forget to do the things you know you're supposed to do at the ends of videos. I know there's a lot to do in game, but please take a couple of seconds to do the things you know you're supposed to do at the ends of videos, because that helps me out a lot. And I will see you guys on the next one.